This is what being a man is about. The baseline of masculinity is doing things you don't feel like doing. But the baseline of masculinity as a whole is the thing that makes a good man a man is that he does what he doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to work and he works anyway. He doesn't want to go to war and he fights anyway. He doesn't want to get up, he gets up anyway. That's the whole point of it. You can't sit there as a man and say you don't feel like it. You're not allowed to not feel like it. You're supposed to do it anyway, regardless. This is how.
So I'm going to do a reaction video to Andrew Tate allegedly exposing the army. And if I had to guess, it would be, something along the lines of joining the army is stupid and join the real world or the war room so he could steal your money. So let's get into the video. He's just the gift that keeps giving.
Case. I remember saying to my dad, what does caught a case mean? He goes, it's like when you catch a cold. Sometimes you just catch a cold.
Well, maybe that's where he gets his logic from. His father told him when you catch a case, it's like catching a cold. Doesn't mean you had bad behavior, right? Just like Andrew and Tristan, according to them and all their underwear sniffer fans, that they've never done anything and there's no evidence. So maybe this is where he gets this logic from, like from his dad, because his dad said catching a case is like catching a cold. No, catching a case is because you had bad behavior. But Andrew and Tristan Tate, they claim to be all about the children and they're educating the West and they're going to show kids right from wrong. So let's let the idiot keep talking.
Just catch a case. Like, got a case again, but just caught one. Happens. Oh.
Yeah, I got news for people. Catching a case from the cops, the FBI, it doesn't just happen, as Mr. Tate here likes to claim.
I thought that was a strange premise. Well, if you do nothing wrong, how can you catch a case? God taught me that.
God taught you that? I love how he keeps bringing God into it. No, your actions and your brother's actions dictated you catching cases. God didn't put a case on you. So just stop with the nonsense, right? Because that's what it is. There's thousands of pages of evidence of the Tates and all their deeds, the human trafficking, the pimping, the tweeting a support of grown men sleeping with 15-year-old girls. The evidence is overwhelming, but according to the Tates, it's the Matrix and it's God, right? Interesting concept.
You just catch a case. You wake up, you're a G. If you're doing your thing, you're going through life. Women love you, good friends, making a bunch of money, everything's fine. Boom, caught a case. It's like when you go to the grocery store, come back with a sniffle. Happens. So I caught a case, went to jail, Romanian jail. And when I was in jail, I used many methods to make the overall experience more pleasant. But one of the things I did is I repeatedly looked around jail, as desolate and desperate of a situation it was, with the cockroaches, with the lack of food, with the hole in the floor to piss in, with the mentally ill people, with the screaming, with the 3 suicides in the first 2 weeks, with the guards who constantly threw everything all over the floor, with all the garbage we went through. I thought, where would I hate to be more than this? Where would be a worst place to be? And I came up with a bunch of scenarios. There's actually quite a few. You think you'd go to jail, but there's actually a bunch of places you'd rather not be than jail. You wouldn't want to be in a car wreck. Imagine wake up, you're in a car wreck, your leg's gone. That would suck. You wouldn't want to be in Ukraine right now in a trench. That would suck. So I was coming up with a bunch of scenarios. One of the scenarios I came up with, I wouldn't want to be on a submarine. Now we're not going to talk about the Titanic submarine thing, because that's just dumb. Bruv, that's stupid. Let me explain to you why that's stupid. I was talking to someone the other day, and
here it comes.
She was like, you got loads of money. Would you ever do something like that? I was like, no way. Because I have loads of money, yes. But I grew up disadvantaged.
He got loads of money off the backs of others. The methods that he teaches in the war room in the real world, they don't use this. They get rich because they pimp out 15 to 17-year-old girls on webcam, and they deal drugs. He's admitted to dealing drugs. They scam, and every illegal activity they're involved in. They're not rich because they use the methods that they teach you. They're rich because young people are not smart enough to see them for what they are and give them $49.99 a month. And then the war room is $69.69 for I don't even know how long at this point.
And I think when you grow up disadvantaged, you have this different sense of danger. If you're like a billionaire white boy, you'll go swim with sharks. I've never seen anyone from south side of Chicago say, I want to swim with sharks, ever. You could make them all win the Powerball 200 times in a row, and none of them would ever wake up and go, I'm going to go swim with sharks. Our life is extreme enough. I've seen enough danger. Fuck the sharks. No. Don't want to go anywhere near sharks, and I don't want to go to the bottom of the ocean. I'll tell you why I don't want to go to the bottom of the ocean. If my man, Mr. Idiot Professor who got crushed, came to me and said, I built a submarine, all right, and we can go to the bottom of the ocean, okay, and we can explore the Titanic. Say, okay, how do we see the Titanic? Well, through this television screen. Fine. Then why do I have to go? Why can't we just send a sub or send a drone and I watch it from a television screen up here with my bitches? Why the fuck am I getting in a fucking tube to watch it on TV anyway? What? Please make that make sense to me. You're watching it on a screen in a tube instead of watching on a screen on the left. Why? And why wasn't there a chain attached to the submarine? So when there's a problem, it's just like, boom, yank it up. I know that must not be possible for some reason, but I don't buy it. Must have been possible. Whole thing's stupid. Anyway, I'm not even talking about that submarine. I'm talking about a normal submarine, a functioning battle nuclear sub, a real sub. I was sitting there with Tristan saying, I bet life on a submarine would be shit. And he goes, yeah, who even joins the Navy nowadays? I was like, bruv, fuck knows. Fuck knows. The age of exploration is over. We can look at Google Maps. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to see. You're not a pirate.
Wait, doesn't Andrew Tate make videos and he says the real essence of a man is doing things they don't want to do? Wouldn't it be joining the military? Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. You want to get a free education. You don't live in a good environment, right? But he'll just start mocking the things that certain men do. But according to Andrew Tate, men have to get up every day, whether they like it or not. They don't have choices. They have to do things they don't want to do. Fight in wars, sink in ships, and do this and that. And now all of a sudden you're a loser because you joined the Navy. So I already know what this is leading up to. Why join the Navy or the military when you can join the real world? So let's let Andrew do his typical spiel, his bullshit spiel.
What are you doing? You're on a sub. You join the Navy, you go to the submarine. Cool. You're in the submarine now. It's underwater. You're there. You have a job to do, I guess. You press some buttons a couple hours a day. You go to the mess hall, you eat. It sounds like jail. With the chance of dying, of course. Probably worse than jail. But I thought, life on a submarine may not be that bad. So let me go and do some investigation. So since I've been out of jail, I looked up life on a nuclear sub to see what it's like. And I learned that they have, I think the day has different number of hours in it. I think they have 18 hours in a day. They change it. They get rid of the 24 hours. There's 18 hours in a day. You do 6 hours sleeping, 6 hours work, and 6 hours recreation, something like that. And then most parts of the submarine you never even get to see because it's all classified. So you're a loser. You wake up in your loser bunk. You go to your loser station. You do your loser things. You go eat your loser food. Go to the loser gym. Back to your loser bunk on repeat.
Wow. So people that join the military and on submarines are a bunch of losers. Well, I have a different definition of losers. Human traffickers, pimps, pedophiles, those are losers to me. That's what the Tates are. So let's let him continue with his nonsense. Andrew, not everybody wakes up in the morning and decides to pimp out girls to make money, or human traffic women, or set up fake casinos, or scam young people. I mean, your apps have been taken down on Google, the Real World, and the War Room, because it was a Ponzi scheme going after teenage kids. But you're just so honorable, Andrew, so let's let you finish.
People are doing this voluntarily for a very meager wage. Don't understand it. They're doing this.
You don't understand it? Well, don't you make videos claiming that sometimes men have to do what they gotta do? Well, those men are doing what they gotta do, right, Andrew?
So I'm sitting there going, well, there's no freedom or exploration or fun in that. It's not even like you're on a boat. You can't even wake up in the morning and look out the window and go, oh, yeah, wow, this is the ocean. Nah, bruv. See nothing. So I was like, that's dumb. So then to highlight how stupid all of it is, when I was watching this documentary, they had a sailor who was talking about his mission. And he felt very proud that he was serving the Navy and he was protecting his country and he was doing such a fantastic job and he was in such a dangerous part of the world. Interesting. It's like, how do you feel in danger in a submarine? But he was saying, well, it was actually during the Syrian conflict, during the Syrian civil war. I think when Russia just got interested in Syria, the West sent some subs near Syria. Who knows? And he said to me, yeah, we're in a very dangerous part of the world right now. Obviously, there's a lot of nuclear powers and a lot of other countries which have vested interest in this part of the world. So we're particularly on high alert. We're in a very dangerous area. And I was like, I wonder where he is. So I picked up a map. Literally, I paused the video, picked up a map. I looked where Syria is. I looked at like the Med, looked around like the Egypt, Red Sea, whatever. I was like, I wonder where he is. By coincidence, like after I clicked unpause, 3 seconds later, after I said he was in a dangerous area, they showed where the location of the sub was. My man was in fucking just off the coast of Croatia. I was like, gee, I've been there on a yacht with women.
On a yacht with women. On a yacht. Anyway, you know, the only thing, he's making fun of a guy that takes pride in being in the military. What do you take pride in, Andrew? Take pride in being a pimp? Take pride in being a human trafficker? I mean, you're awfully proud of being a pimp. A pimp is the lowest life form on the planet. There's, even in the criminal world, right? Child molesters, pimps. And that's where Tates are. I mean, him and Tristan support sleeping with 15-year-old girls. So pedophiles and pimps, the two biggest, lowest life forms on the planet. But the guy that's proud to serve in the military is a loser to the biggest loser on the planet, and that's Andrew and Tristan Tate.
You're talking about a dangerous area. You had me thinking you were in the middle of a fucking nuclear war zone. The way he said we're in a dangerous area, it's a really dangerous part of the world. There's a lot of countries around right now, and there's a lot of vested interest in this area. My man was literally 200 miles off the coast of Croatia. He was literally exactly where my yacht was.
My yacht.
And I sat and I paused. I said, Tristan, look at this shit.
It's about to
When
be
we were
Guy
on the
Cozzi
yacht
pretty soon.
with all those women and our staff and our big fat cigars, laughing, jumping in and out the water, having a great time, there was some...
You know what amazed me with the fat cigars? Wasn't this idiot claiming when he was in his little, he calls it prison, he wasn't in prison, he was basically in the local county jail in Romania. Didn't he claim that he had a spot in his lung and that he had cancer, right? What happened, Andrew? That cancer just miraculously cured off your lung? You just came out of jail and all of a sudden the cancer's gone? Wasn't that the narrative you were trying to spin, that you had cancer, right? Remember that? Tough guy? I mean, you couldn't even do 60 days, 90 days in the county without crying after all the crime that you committed. You guys act like you went to Alcatraz for 50 years. I mean, what happened to the big cancer story since you and your brother smoke like a fiend 24 hours a day?
Some dickhead 100 miles below us in the cold, walking around in a circle of imprisonment between the gym, his shit job, and his bunk bed, convinced that...
It's going to be like, you know what? It's funny that you just mentioned that type of area, because pretty soon that's where you're going to be for about 15 to 20 years. So have fun.
He was in somehow a dangerous part of the world. The psyop required for you to live that life is remarkable. If only he would have got his periscope and looked up and seen me and a bunch of big booty bitches, he might realize he was getting fucking famoosed. Dumb.
You ever notice how he just refers to women all the time as bees, right? They're bees, 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 bees. He's a pimp. He's a bees, bees. Right? He doesn't want to F them, really. He just needs their effing money. All right? But then, you know, a week later, he'll make a video about how women are the most important things in the world, and, you know, nothing's more beautiful than a relationship between a man and a woman, and they have children, and blah, blah, blah. This guy is so full of shit. I can't even... I wish I could say it in 100 different languages, but obviously I can't. He's just full of shit. That's what he is. He's a piece of garbage. And that's what pimps are. They're pieces of garbage.
So, working on a submarine shit. Then, I tried to expand out from there. What other scenarios would be super shit? But just as I'm about to tell you, I'm remembering something that someone once told me. And someone said to me, Andrew, do you know why they're Matrix attacking you? I said,
oh, here we go.
So because you're coming for all of the largest psyops that they use to control the masculine youth. You convince people to not join the army and go die for their forever wars. You convince people to not join the Navy and go in a submarine so they can make endless profit off the back of you. You convince people to not go to university so they can put you in student debt and enslave you because you...
The Matrix is not attacking them. Okay. There are 6 or 7 victims that went to the police that said that the Tates raped them, restricted their movements, took away their ability to leave the house unless they went with their madam, made them basically slave 12 hours a day doing webcam, sexual acts on webcam, where he pimped them out, he human trafficked them. That's definition of Romania, what I just said. And the reason why they catch these cases, it's not like catching a cold, is because they commit these crimes in every country that they go to. And, you know, Andrew likes to call it TikTok, innocent TikTok videos where girls were painting and dancing. No, they use TikTok to funnel customers to the webcam studio where girls were doing full-blown sex acts on camera. And they were doing that up until 2020. And if you look at the court transcripts and you look at the evidence, you know exactly what the Tates are. They're human traffickers, they're pimps, they're pedophiles. Andrew Tate is on Twitter comparing himself to Jeffrey Epstein. But he's the greatest guy in the world.
To offer them money with the real world. These are platforms they've spent a long time and a lot of money trying to create, and they use their entire propaganda machine to convince people to adhere to and fall for. You can't just come along and become the most famous man in the world and say, don't go to university and don't join the army. You can't do that. Because if you do that, they're going to put you in jail. And I sat there and thought, that's interesting. And here I am, I just made a Tate speech about how submarines are fucking stupid. Now I'm about to tell you if you join the real world.
I knew it was coming.
University. But because I understand the limit, I'm not going to tell you the other stupid places I don't want to go and the other stupid jobs I thought of, because basically all of them are in the military. So.
Well, there you have it. You know, Andrew Tate will do anything to get your money. They'll lie, they'll steal, they'll cheat, they'll tell you what you want to hear. I mean, he's made videos saying that you say nothing that's absolute. So what does that mean? It means he's full of shit. And that's exactly what the Tates are. And court can't come soon enough for these two losers, and they'll be in prison where they belong.